Is this the year that Seiya Suzuki puts it all together and leads the Chicago Cubs team?
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into discussion with you on all things Cubs. Thank you for being part of the show and making Locked On Cubs your first listen today. And the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day, like the video, and comment anything below. Let us know in the comments section as we start off another week here. Who is the key to the Cubs season? Today's Monday episode is presented by FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel. New customers join today, and you'll get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Each episode this week, pending breaking news or any top news story, the first segment is going to be on a player who could be the key to the Cubs in 2024. And after many struggles, Seiya Suzuki was one of the best players in baseball down the stretch of the 2023 season, confirming what has been said about him since he arrived 2 years ago, that he is perhaps the best hitter his teammates have ever played with. And his ceiling as a player is both exciting for himself and the Cubs, especially as we talk about keys to contending for the NL Central crown. Sam, 2024 could belong to the breakout, finally, of Seiya Suzuki.
Yeah, and I think the last couple of months of last year, the first month and a half of 2022, showed you that it is in there. And nobody is saying that that's what it has to be for 155. What we're saying is can you maximize those stretches and minimize the ones where you struggle and maybe your hand's bothering you or you got a soft tissue thing, but you're out there. Can you minimize those struggles? Last year was basically 3.5 months of major struggle and then 2 months of unbelievable success that really, when you look at his full body of work last year, if you just look at the numbers, looked like he had a really good season. But we know that all came in 2 months. And that's why sometimes the 162 game sample size can be deceiving, because a guy could end up with a really solid overall year. But if you're out of it, which this wasn't the Cubs case, but if you're out of it and he only was good the second half of the year when the season didn't matter, how much did he actually help you? You know what I mean?
Right.
Those are things that don't get talked about enough. Now, in Seiya's case, he was instrumental when the Cubs needed him to be, because Bellinger started to cool off towards the end. But with Seiya, it's simple. I mean, it's all there offensively. His eye, his power, his bat-to-ball skills. I mean, he hit a ball yesterday for his second home run at Sloan that might have been about a 460-foot homer if they got a read on it. I mean, he hit it out of the stadium. I've said it. I think I've really been on that with Seiya in the sense of, like, I've been so frustrated with him. And I don't think anyone had been more frustrated with himself than him.
Yeah, he's hard on himself.
Because he knows it's in there. And I've said it. I think the OPS, I think the goal for me this year for Seiya is simple. OPS starts with a 9, home run total starts with a 3. That's it. That's the goal. I think it's very, very doable. I don't want to see him. The other thing that he needs to do, Matt, is avoid those long stretches, like a month long, where he kind of lays in the weeds. He mixes in a double or a single every now and then. But, and then you look up, you're like, yeah, I guess Seiya really hasn't hit a homer in like a month plus. He'll have slumps.
That's way too long.
Yeah, he'll have slumps, but he needs to be present. And we're going to talk about it here shortly. I love one more time. I love where he is in the lineup and where it looks like he's going to slate in the 2-hole. And I think there's a very high percentage that he is this team's best hitter this season. I think he's their most talented hitter as it stands. And, I think it's all there for him. Year 3, all-star, big-time OPS, home run power. The key with Seiya is simple. selective aggressiveness. Be just aggressive enough where you're not sitting 0-2 every single at bat, but don't lose what got you to the dance, which is your tremendous eye.
Yeah, it's a great call by you because I have been impressed by his lack of chase and lack of swing and miss. There's plenty of hard contact to go around. But is he able to find grass? Is he able to hit for extra bases as well as average? And it really is all in there. And this has the makings of a guy who can hit 2, 3, or 4. And it looks like at least on March 28th or so, it is going to be in the 2 spot. And yes, spring training results are not the basis for any argument, but they can support the discussion that we're having now and really complement what we've said a lot already on our show. And to that point, Seiya's hitting 440 entering Sunday's game. He's got 3 home runs. He really has played a great part in spring training so far. He's looked the part, I should say. And for a team that fell just short last year, to have possibly a hitter of this ceiling already on your team when one of the goals was to find more offense and get better as a lineup, I hope that he's able to have a breakout year and maybe even to, at least at times, elite levels. And he's one of the main reasons, quite frankly, I'm getting antsy about getting to the real games.
Right.
The way he's performing, it's like, well,
just save it.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's just don't do anything else. Just leave it in there.
Yeah. And what do we think about Seiya's other parts of his game, whether it's his speed, base running, defensively, because he's not one-dimensional. He's pretty well-rounded.
Yeah.
Do we want to see him take jumps there as well?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because he's been stealing a lot this spring a little bit.
I noticed that.
I don't want him to get hurt. It's just to me, that's how he got hurt.
He doesn't need to steal bases. The other guys can.
That's how he got hurt a couple years ago with his finger
in 2022.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to say that he's fragile, but that's kind of, I just want to just let him be for a couple months. Yeah. I don't want any, because all it takes is one IL trip, one soft tissue, one hand, and then everything gets set back. So early in the season, let Nico steal, let Mastroboni, if he's on the team, steal, and you just hit and catch the ball. Make his life simple.
Yeah, he can't afford to miss time.
No.
The Cubs maybe can afford it.
No.
But the way that we're projecting this out and expecting it, I don't think they're going to be able to, and he just can't. He can't either.
No.
I do like him in the 2 spot. Sunday's spring training lineup is really the first time I went, wow.
Yep.
This looks like something that we can see on March 28th, and it does have Happ leading off at DH. It has Seiya second, Bellinger third, Morel fourth at third, at least to open the game. Swanson, Bush, Horner, Tauchman, and then Amaya. Of course, we should expect a catcher rotation, but that Tauchman in there as a starter against righties, that's what we projected on the show. I've flirted the last few days with maybe a Dom Smith or something like that.
Yeah.
When they roll the balls out, I think it is going to be Tauchman. And, Happ, Suzuki, Bellinger, Council's true to his word. Best hitters hit the most.
Yeah, and I think the only issue I have with that lineup, and I'm all right with it, is Morel hitting behind 3 guys that are going to get on base a ton could set him up for a lot of strikeouts with men on.
Right. But in that sense, he's the prototypical cleanup guy.
Yeah, right. And I'm not a prototypical guy.
But he's got to come through.
Yeah, and Nico hitting 7th is going to bother some people, and I see that. I would probably have him. Honestly, can I be honest?
We've brainstormed him before in cleanup.
Yeah, and I even like him in the Dansby role because The one thing that really frustrated me about this team down the stretch last year was just like the strikeouts with men on base in contact situations. So if you can you just don't like. I would go as far as to say going into this season, the guy that I have the least amount of confidence in with men on and less than 2 outs is Dansby Swanson.
Yeah,
with the way his season ended.
Right.
So having him in the fifth hole, but you can't just do that. You got to just let it be for a while. So I don't have a major issue with it. I like the lineup. There's a lot of different ways it could beat you. And I'm excited. I'm excited to play. There's a lot of, just a lot going on. I'm almost overstimulated in the sports world right now, but nothing comes before this baseball team. And, I'm interested. I won't be watching much today because, my team's trying to win a conference championship, but I will be keeping tabs to see how this lineup looks, because to me, the key guy to make that whole thing work is going to be Michael Busch right in the center there.
Yeah. Do you think he's one of the 5 keys to the season?
Oh, sure. I haven't done, I'm not like you. I haven't taken notes on it, but sure. I think absolutely.
Maybe I'll pencil his name in.
I think he absolutely is one of the, at least here. How about this? He's one of the 5 keys to the early season.
Right. Well, that's.
And I don't know if you saw this because you were busy this morning doing stuff. Did you see that Matt Mervis, it is official that he will not be on the opening day roster?
I did see that.
Okay.
I did see that. So right now we got Suzuki, Steele, Bellinger, and Busch. And maybe we put
I know the other one's easy, dude.
The other one's easy, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what are we?
Is it Morel?
No, I don't. I don't. You technically can't put Busch ahead of Morel. That's why I think Busch is the early season.
I want to make Busch a lead though.
But there has to be a left-hander,
Imanaga,
Japan, that needs to be on there, man.
Well, no, we did tease that in our Friday.
He might be the most important, pitcher on this team.
Well, absolutely.
I'm not going to say who it is, but it's a left-hander from
Japan. It's not Drew Smiley. Let's put
and
it
it's not Wicks, but it's a left-hander that's from overseas.
Right. It's not Edwin Escobar. So
no.
Coming up next, let's review some weekend action Friday and Saturday. The Cubs were. I have some news and notes in front of me. Stay tuned. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Say goodbye to busted brackets because FanDuel lets you bet on every game of the tournament. Whether you're betting on a big upset or a 1 seed, it's time to go dancing on America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 to use on point spreads, money lines, and more, including who you can pick who's going to win the whole thing. This is both on the men's and women's side. We're just coming off Selection Sunday, and it's officially here. Madness has resumed, and we're going to be keeping tabs all week long, but especially later this week, Thursday, Friday, into the weekend, as postseason basketball is officially here. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and bet on college hoops until they cut down the nets. FanDuel, the official partner of the Locked On Podcast Network. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel, Locked On Sports Today. And baseball fans, you could mark your calendars for March 20th. That's this week at 6 Central for the best MLB season preview coming exclusively to Locked On Sports Today. You'll be the first to get local insight from the MLB local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network. That's March 20th this week at 6 Central on Locked On Sports Today 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV app. We're back here on Locked On Cubs. Some weekend observations from the weekend. The first one that I had that's now even been updated with Sunday's lineup, Sam, is Ian Happ and Nick Madrigal had been getting pretty consistent at bats, but on the minor league side. And now Happ's back in a major league spring training game on Sunday. We'll see if Madrigal follows suit. Perhaps he's off the bench Sunday, or maybe he's in Monday or Tuesday's lineup. But it's good to see those guys back, because even Madrigal, again, if we're being conservative, I think he does make the opening day team. And Happ coming back healthy this quick is a good sign. Counsell lead off right away I feel very comforted by that. And it's going to be nice to have a table setter in there and some help at third with these guys healthy, right?
Yeah, well, with Hap, I mean, he's an overqualified leadoff hitter. I mean, he the one thing about Ian Happ, and there's so many unknowns every year you go into a baseball season because there's just so many variants in how guys perform. I think one of the easiest things to say going into the 2024 season is that Ian Happ gets on base. Regardless of if he's hitting homers, regardless of how he's hitting in the clutch, regardless of what he's doing, he gets on base. And that is what you want from your leadoff hitter. So if Ian Happ has that OBP in the high 360s once again, 370s, that is going to be really awesome from your leadoff hitter, and it's going to start a lot of big innings.
And let's see here. Garrett Cooper played left field not once but twice this weekend, as perhaps he increases his versatility to improve his chances of making the team out of camp. Again, a guy that could hit lefties, play first base, play some left field, DH.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So he's still in the mix. Dom Smith continues to hit, Sam. He's 8 for 20 with a home run. And I believe an appearance by my great friend, Kevin Kazmarski, is due for this program. Another former teammate of Kaz. And I spoke to him, Kaz, that is, on Saturday, Sam.
Yeah.
And I said, you should just come on and just say the stuff that you're telling me now.
Yeah.
And so I think we're going to do that.
Okay. Yeah.
And so he's, speaks fairly highly of Dom, has some great Dom Smith, Pete Alonso stories. And
some dying stories.
I just think it's a guy who, yeah. I just think this is a guy who could contribute if he makes it out of camp. And it'd be nice to get to know him a little bit. And maybe we kind of take him on as a show of like, hey, watch out for Dom Smith.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm on that bandwagon quite yet. But I am on the bandwagon of having Kaz on to talk about it.
Oh, good. Yeah, even if it's for just a few minutes.
I don't know if I'm publicly on the Dom Smith bandwagon just yet.
Right.
I actually really believe I'm on the Garrett Cooper.
Okay, yeah. So you think he should make it?
I don't know because I don't know who I have to pull off. I think Garrett Cooper's a major league player. I think he should be here's what I should say.
There's no way he goes to Des Moines.
I think Garrett Cooper should be on a major league team.
Right.
So if it's not with the Cubs or whatever, he's good enough to be on a major league roster.
He will
significantly
be.
Against left-handers. So if it's not with the Cubs, somewhere else. But yeah, I think they need Madrigal back because they need insurance over there at third. Morel made his fourth error, very limited innings.
I have
yesterday.
that here too. Yeah.
It is.
He continues to mash, but 4 errors now.
It's appalling how bad it is over there. Appalling, and it's no effect. Like I'm not like I really like Christopher Morel, but it's awful. So they need Madrigal's insurance defensively. Mastro started to play a little bit more third, if you've noticed that.
Yes, he has. He started there on Saturday.
And then I think the other thing is, and I know you have these notes, I really like the way Mr. Merriweather and Owlsalive finished that game the other day.
Yeah.
Neris has gotten a little bit roughed up in the spring, and I did talk to a couple of Astros people. And they told me even when Neris is good, which obviously he was last year, it's usually pretty high heart rate stuff when he's out there. So prepare for that.
Well, then maybe he's more of a 6th or 7th inning guy.
Nah, they're not paying him that. You gotta run him out there. He'll maybe 7th, but definitely 7th or 8th. He's not coming in the 6th.
Okay. Also Saturday for split squad, Drew Smyly did not pitch well. As he vies for the 5th starter job with Javier Assad, who pitches Sunday, and Hayden Wisniewski. I believe it's probably just down to Smyly and Assad, though. But yeah, not exactly encouraging from Smyly after he did pitch well last week. But on the other side of the split squad, Sam, Ben Brown was excellent as a starter.
Yeah, great to see.
And he's been excellent in his 10 innings of work this spring. I always pegged him as a reliever based on Lindsey Crosby's feedback and just reading some from Baseball America, Baseball Prospectus, Fangraphs. But maybe he can open games and give a little bit of length, at least to begin the year in that Iowa rotation. So we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
Anything else from the weekend?
No, the Cubs the Cubs are playing well in the spring now. They've cleaned it
They've
up.
hit a lot of homers all of a sudden.
Yeah, I mean they went back to back to back. I mean that was pretty awesome. Seiya, Cody, and then Yan.
Yeah.
And Yan.
And
Yan
some
hit
have
too.
said I look like Yan Gomes.
And somebody said the other day you look like Kyle Tucker.
Yeah, who's that?
He's on
the Astros.
Yeah. He's a pretty good player. So.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. It didn't register right away.
That's all right. It doesn't have to, man. He's not a Cub.
I see. Coming up next, we're only 10 days from opening day, folks. So we continue our countdown with the legendary Ron Santo. Stay tuned. Today's episode is brought to you by Amazon Fire TV. Fire TV is your destination for sports, from live games to highlights, the in-depth analysis. Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs, as well as the Fire TV stick that you can plug into your existing TV that provides access to millions of movies and TV episodes, as well as free and live TV. Whether it's March Madness or the opening weekend for baseball in 10 days, you're going to want to have a Fire TV. They also recently created Fire TV channels, which includes all of us at Locked On and most of the big pro leagues and college conferences as well. Dive into the world of sports and great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, and cooking. Check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, you should. Trust us on this. To learn more, visit Amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. As we count down the days until opening day, we're taking a look at players in Cubs history who wore that jersey number. And number 10 is retired after being worn in historic fashion by Ron Santo, the Hall of Famer, baseball and Cubs, HOF, 9-time All-Star, 5-time Gold Glover, led the league in doubles once, walks 4 times, and OBP twice. Sam, we're only 10 days until opening day, and let's pour one out for Ron Santo.
Yeah, I don't have a drink with me. But yeah, I mean, Ron Santo, I mean, when you think about Ron Santo, you think about one thing. You think about the Chicago Cubs.
Right.
You know, you think about
baseball and radio.
Yeah, he kind of, he has his career path of, obviously a great player, ended up being a Hall of Famer, and then kind of solidified himself. I think when he played, and obviously wasn't really around, for that, but when he played, there were, okay, like maybe he's a little too passionate or too fiery, whatever it is. But then when you got to know him on the radio, that's why I think the radio was such an instrumental part of his career.
Oh, yeah.
It brought in this vulnerability to him and this respect to him. Because you just realize, man, he just wants to win really bad. He's a competitor and he's funny and he's a cool guy and a great player. And to me, when you're talking about the Mount Rushmore of the Chicago Cubs, whether it's personality or players, I think he's firmly on the list because of his work both on and off the diamond for this franchise.
And a quick note, Dave Kingman and Leon Durham also wore number 10 before it was retired. Those are 2 big names.
Sure.
There was a few others that were smaller in scale, but it was worn a few times before it was retired there. I believe it was late 90s or early 2000s. So shout out to Ron Santo, and we're about to enter the single digits until opening day. I'm really excited and borderline antsy now, especially as the Cubs continue to pass the eye test, at least in Arizona. Again, each episode's first segment this week will be on a player who could be the key to the Cubs in 2024. I mean, shoot, we could do that up until opening day, and maybe that is what we decide. But coming up on Tuesday, the Cubs' number 1 starter, Justin Steele. What do we expect from him this campaign? And a whole lot more. Thank you so much for checking out this edition of Locked On Cubs. You give us 20 to 30 minutes. We'll give you all things Cubs with a laugh or two along the way. Be sure to hit subscribe on YouTube, smash the like button for the algorithm, and leave a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcast. Monday episode in the books. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.
Go Cubs.